What is up, y'all? My name is Nick Schinker, and I'm going to talk about how learning how to invest completely changed my life for the better. Before learning about investing, I was in college and really just totally confused about my career and my life. And I was just trying to figure out what the heck I was going to do after college. I was really worried about security, money, finances. And although the security of this came really from my faith in Jesus, I still wanted to be able to, have a direction, have a goal, have a specific thing in mind of how I'm going to take care of my future family, future wife, future kids, how I'm going to bless them as my dad blessed me. And I always heard him talking about this thing called, investing in the stock market. And I always thought he was just kind of a nerd about it. And I was like, oh, he's just, one of those guys who just learns about those things, and he cares too much about it. He needs to live life a little. But as I graduated college, I really started to see his heart posture in a different direction than just, oh, he loves stock market and he loves the stock market and making money. And I realized this interest of his played a huge role in setting our family up for success. Whether that was me getting to college, my sister starting out with, you know, a good amount of money to where she was safe going to her, cosmetology school or whatever it's called. I don't know, the girl stuff. And although I didn't know exactly what career I wanted to pursue, I was interested about this thing called investing because I met my now wife at the time, living at my dad's actually, just working accounting jobs, accounts payable job, not getting paid much. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I have met this wonderful, amazing woman, and I want to be able to provide for her and provide for our future family if we get married. And praise the Lord, we did. We have no kids yet, but it's been about a couple years since, maybe 3 years since those desires really started to come up, and yeah, I thought, why not start with this thing that my dad keeps talking about, has really just, changed his family's life for the better. And I really got into just, I am a math nerd, so that does help. And I was like, okay, I got into how to pick companies and, ooh, what's the next best thing? And I kind of started out on the wrong foot in the sense where I was just trying to, bet on the next big thing with most of my money. So, for example, if I saw on YouTube someone, picked a stock that was like, oh, this is going to shoot to 200% this year, I'd be like, okay, okay, let's do it. And that's not necessarily bad, as I did have some winners with that. However, it's not really a long term smart investment choice, especially if you're trying to play it safe and have some security and have growth over time. The cool thing about the market, especially this year, is it's hard to go wrong because it's just absolutely booming. Um, you see the S&P 500 index up, I don't know, I think it's over 30% right now, 33% over the year, which is ridiculous. Like, this is like unheard of, really. And I do think it's going to correct itself over time. However, yeah, I started talking to I was like, why not go to the one who, looks up these things every day and is learning about these things? And that is my dad. So I actually started talking to him about it. He told me about index ETFs and why they're the best and safest way to go. He told me about how Warren Buffett explains this. He gave me stats like index funds, especially the S&P 500, has outperformed over 80 to 90% of mutual funds and actively managed funds without taking a fee as well. So he told me things like this, and I got really excited. And I was like, okay, like, this all makes sense. Like, why did I not see this before? So although, I wasn't making, I'm still not making a lot of money or whatever, in terms of career, I was like, okay, I can learn this, and, just instead of just putting all my money in a savings account and it not growing at all, I can, start to, plug away and put little by little into a brokerage account, which is an investing account, and put them in index funds and mostly. So that's what I did. And obviously I'm lucky. I'm a young guy, and I just happened to start investing at the right time in history where index funds are going absolutely nuts. The market's absolutely going nuts. But just the education itself, seeing that over time the market always corrects itself unless there's just a complete end to the whole system, which I don't know, with all these people getting elected, that might happen 20 years from now, but I doubt it. There's no drawback. You don't have to, it's not this type of investing where you have to keep it up or, look into this, look into that, day trading, get stressed out. And I see too many kids nowadays, especially who are my age, falling into these get rich quick schemes that are just like, day trading, Bitcoin, although Bitcoin, okay, controversial, chill out. Bitcoin is just going to go to the roof or whatever, and they put all their money into these things. And next thing you know, it's like 2 years and they've lost all their money, or it's grown by like 2%, where if they put in the S&P 500, it would already be up 20% in 2 years. And I don't know, I think people are making it way too complicated, and it doesn't have to be that way, especially young kids. We got to get out of this mindset of get rich quick and just really start understanding traditional valuable things until we see stats that come out and say otherwise. Like in the future, if we see that, these other types of investing is way more secure and way more profitable long term, then go for it. But right now we see that the traditional index funds, S&P 500, for the everyday investor who doesn't really know a lot, is really the best way to go. So kind of went this route, about 10-20% in dividends, and yeah, just learning this education really gave me a lot more confidence and just direction of like, okay, no matter what I'm doing with my career, if I am smart with my financial decisions, if I steward them well, obviously anything can happen. The heart of the man plans, the Lord establishes his steps. But if I steward this well, I can set my family up and be smart, and the diligent will prosper. So I got a lot more confidence because of learning this stuff and thinking, you know what, if I do this, maybe I can take care of my family. Maybe I can marry this woman. Maybe I can have more kids in the future. Because a lot of us want that. Not everyone, but a lot of us want that. And I hate to say it, money is not the roots of our happiness, of our foundation of this. But in order to live life in America, you have to have money and provide for your family. So I got a lot more confidence in that, and over time just been plugging away at these disciplines that I've created, and it has just, it has grown obviously over time, and obviously it's not like, it's a get rich quick and now like I don't have to work ever, blah blah blah. No, but just seeing the little small wins over time makes me confident in the future that, okay, if I keep up with these disciplines, if I want to retire when I'm 55, that may be possible. And if I want to have more kids and send them to college, that may be possible. So this is why it's important that people have changed their mindset to a long-term mindset. Get out of this mindset of, unless you're just a dog entrepreneur style guy, which is the 10% of us, let's be real. And that does not, day trading does not count for that. Sorry, stop with that, dude. If you're more I'm going to start a business, I'm going to bet on this business, it's going to work, and you have a plan, go for it. But most of us are not like that, me included. And we're just, at the end of the day, our jobs are not our life, and we're just trying to make a living and provide for our families, get involved with church, be generous that way. And, that's a good life for us. So I just think the everyday person, they need to do just a little bit more research about investing, and it will completely change their life. Um, Most people, you do not need a financial advisor if you learn this stuff. They take 1% only to get outperformed. So if you do know your stuff, you go into indexes, you will be fine without an advisor. If you budget well, all these things. But at the end of the day, if you need an advisor, if you literally have nowhere to start, you're just like, I don't even want to learn this stuff, then go for it. It's better than not investing at all. But I do like to say disclaimer, I am not a financial advisor. I am not, I don't have all these credentials. I am just a 25-year-old who has learned from experience and data. So do not, this is not financial advice. Every decision you make is your decision, not mine. So disclaimer, babamer, okay? I'm not a financial advisor. Your decision is your decision with your finances. But I am only speaking on my experience. Investing, the average person, they need to learn about this stuff more, because a savings account is great and budgeting is great. But if you do not put in the time to learn about investing, then you could be really, really behind in 20 years where the other person who was investing 20 years ago is really, really set up for retirement. So that's just the facts. I'm not trying to scare you into investing or push it on you, but it has really changed my life and changed how I look about, my confidence in, providing for a family just by simple things learned over time. So yeah, there you have it. That is how investing completely changed my life, and why I encourage the everyday American, the 90% of people, to go ahead, just start small, learn about investing, and see where it takes you. The data's there. Just buy some good index funds, good stocks, good dividend stocks, and never look at it again and see what happens. This is Shinker Financial, and I hope you have a great day.